Hey guys, Ralph here, and welcome to True Power Trumpet Fitness on this wonderful Wednesday here in Connecticut. Life's good, campers. Life is good. Anyway, before we get to the thumbnail, guys, that's 400 swings already today. I've practiced over not quite 2 hours, and I feel fabulous. My chops feel great. My body feels great. My instrument feels great. Okay, let me honk a little bit and we will get into talk about Dave STEINMEYER, literally one of the top 10 greatest brass players that ever lived. Okay, we watched Eric Parks' Ice Castles yesterday, STEINMEYER's today, motto. Doesn't get much better than those two, it really doesn't. Okay, let me honk. Not a mark anywhere. Locked and loaded, baby. Although that D didn't want to slot quite, but anyway. Anyway, so here we are, Dave STEINMEYER. Now, I did years ago, did a 2-hour quick Q&A with Dave myself. One of a student of mine knew him quite well from childhood. They grew up together, and he got me in touch with him, and sure enough, he gave me 2 hours of his time. He just talked and talked and talked and talked. Two brass geeks, just loving the conversation. I could have gone another 2 hours, but anyway, he grew up in northern Florida, and guys, he never had a lesson of any kind in his life. Now you think, I mean, theory, ear training, conducting, nothing. Trombone, no musical training whatsoever. And my student in his high school program had quite a good band program. Quite a good band program. And when he was in middle school, his father bought him a trombone. He didn't ask for it, he just came home one day with a trombone. Now, his father was definitely a music lover, loved Stan Kenton. And Dave just grew up listening to Stan Kenton. And there were Stan Kenton albums all over the house. That is the only musical training Dave had. Now, let me explain. He just got out the horn and started making sounds. And, he told me the name of the mouthpiece that came with the trombone, which the only mouthpiece he's ever played in his entire life. I forgot the name. Oh, jeez, that's terrible. But tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay? Now, he later went with Warburton, who made a replica, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so here we are, middle school, and he's just noodling around. And he had these tunes in his head, and he's just trying to make the tunes make sense. And he started graduating from that to actually playing along with the record. And that was the only musical training typically he had. Now, when he got to middle school, he obviously learned how to read music enough. All cows eat grass, that type of thing. That he could navigate charts. But right up through high school, he was the star of this and the soloist and that and all this sort of stuff. When it came to go to Florida, there was quite a good, I'm not sure what university it was, but there was quite a good music program. Remember, this is years ago. He's older than me. And he went to audition with his band director for this position. And he told me a whole story about his band director got into it with the trombone teacher and all this sort of stuff, and he didn't get in. Now, you think about it. The greatest trombone player who ever lived did not get into it wasn't Juilliard or anything, it wasn't Curtis. No, it was just some state school down in Florida that the trombone player felt threatened about his audition. He played the Tommy Dorsey theme up an octave for I'm Getting Sentimental. He was never getting in. Now, that in itself is a good thing, because I guarantee you, if he had gone 4 years to that teacher would have ruined his chops. Absolutely would have ruined his chops. Changed his mouthpiece. You got to do it this way, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it's not knowing what the heck to do and all set to get a job and throw away the trombone, he took an audition with one of the military bands down there. Got the job. He did learn some music on the job. They had classes and all this sort of stuff, but he never really had a formal... Anyway, he moved from this band up to the Airmen of Note, which is the premier jazz band in the world, certainly of the armed forces, military bands, and went from there to the leader. Now, that also, the nature of the beast allowed him a lot of time to freelance, and he was constantly up in the studios in New York doing studio work. He was very, very good friends with Irby Green, the great trombone player extraordinaire, and he got tons and tons of work. Bill Watrous was one of his students. And guys, you are going to hear that the Ice Castles is, it is what it is. You heard it yesterday. It's a ballad, okay? Sustained, blah, 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 blah. You're going to see the beauty of tone, high notes, all this sort of stuff. But his technique, flawless. Guys, he's got better technique than Nakarikov. And you talk, there is stuff out there on the internet doing jazz, Spain, but that type of thing. And he, Pop, oh my God, Pop, okay? But before I let you go, I got to tell you something. I said, so let me ask you now, completely natural player, has no idea how he's doing it, none. I said, let me ask you, before I let you go, Dave. I said, where is your tongue when you play? And he says, well, I don't know, Ralph. The last thing I want to be thinking about when I go up to that thick Florida accent, I want to be thinking about when I go to that microphone is where my tongue is. I got better things to think about. I said, do me a favor. Humor me. I said, can you spit buzz? I never tried it, Ralph, so I demonstrated. Something like that. He did it back to me perfectly in trumpet range. And I said, how high can you go? And I'm telling you, that was so loud. I only got this sensation one other time in my life, and that was when Jerry would spit buzz in the phone. It was like, oh my God, it hurts your ear. So loud, so pure, so popping. Oh, it was gorgeous. And I said, okay, Dave, one more time. Damn, Ralph, he's a sweet guy. I said, I want you to do it again, and I want you to tell me where your tongue is when you're doing it. So he did it again. He said, I'll be damned, Ralph. I never thought of that before, and I never want to think it again, but it is exactly where you said it'd be. My damn, Ralph. You know more about my embouchure than I do. It was cool. And anyway, my friend who introduced me to him, a couple weeks later, he was at a rehearsal of a jazz band at this college where Dave, I think it's the University of North Florida, where Dave is now on the faculty. And Dave had nothing to do with the rehearsal. He's just walking through. And my friend, my student, is talking shop about chops and spit buzzing and all this sort of stuff. And again, my student, his friend, called, Dave, before you go, he says, where's your tongue when you play? And he says, just do what Ralph says. Ralph knows more about my playing and my chops than anybody. Just do what Ralph says. So he won the argument. But what a player. What a player. Now, the whole thing, the whole ball of wax, the whole enchilada, never had a bad chop issue in his life. Anyway, so ice castles, enjoy. Great, great. I've done a couple of these before, and trust me, you follow this, I'm going to do a couple more again. All right, love you all. Have a great day.